We are back in Augusta for our News Center Maine Voice of the Voter Candidate Forum. We're talking to the 4 candidates who are running for the United States Senate in Maine. We've got one more segment where we're going to do questions and answers, then we'll get to their closing statements. I want to touch on what is happening in Ukraine. There are people who say that the United States and allies in Europe and in other parts of the world are providing enough aid to Ukraine for a stalemate, but not enough for a victory. My question is, should the United States be doing more to help Ukraine? Jason Cherry.
Yes. So, obviously, as an FBI agent, I have classified information about what goes on behind the curtain. But with Putin, you're dealing with a ruthless Hitler. I am not going to mince words with him. I was actually taught Russian by Ukrainians, and they're human beings. They're the closest to family that the Russians have. And he's sending waves after waves of his own people in shields of meat to kill them, to take their children, to take their property. He must be stopped.
All right. We're going to have limited time in this last segment, so I'm sorry, I've got to keep things moving. Angus King.
Well, I agree. I mean, supporting Ukraine is one of our highest priorities because if Putin takes Ukraine, he's not going to stop there. And if you don't believe me, ask the Finns or the Swedes who joined NATO after 75 years because they know Putin and they know Russia. So I think it's critical that we continue to provide this support. Some people feel that we're doing all the work and putting in all the money. Actually, in terms of percentage of the economy, we're something like 14th. Estonia is putting more of their economy into supporting Ukraine than we are. So it's a joint effort of the European countries and us. And in answer to your specific question, I think the decision as to how much aid and how to provide it and what weapons should be should depend on conditions on the ground. But I think we should enable Ukraine to defend itself and to expel the invader, not by American troops, but by American weapons and wherewithal.
Demi Kavanas.
Well, I'm the only veteran here, and I can tell you I was served during the Cold War from 81 to 84. When Russia wanted to come through the Volga Gap, we had 250,000 troops in West Germany. And when Reagan said don't, they didn't. Here, we said don't, and they did, because we didn't go ahead and let Putin know not to do that. We've given $300 billion with no transparency and no plan to end this. Nobody who's a veteran likes a war that doesn't end. Finally, I will say Senator King has at least 9 different defense contractors that are giving him money. I worry that we're giving a lot of our weaponry to Ukraine, and then, yeah, we are building a lot of weaponry here to restock our weapons, but we're also enriching a lot of the war machine that's going on in the United States.
David Costello.
I think we all agree here. Bottom line, though, is we haven't done enough, and we've been slow. The Republican Congress actually slowed up aid for over 6 months, which cost a lot of lives in Ukraine. I certainly think we need to unleash Ukraine, allow them to use those ATACMS and some of the cruise missiles, the stealth cruise missiles, to attack some of those bases that the Russians are using. So I would say we need to do more, if anything, and I certainly agree that with, well, one of the other things, I certainly agree with what Senator King said. If you're in Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, or that's the next stop. If it's not, if Ukraine today, the Balkans, the Baltics next.